on Facebook, so somebody's gonna have to share it.
Fuck it, we'll do it live then.
Outside, just like I like it.
Pretty big fish to fry. Pretty big fish to fry. My. Pretty big fish to fry. Pretty big fish to fry. My. Last weekend I barely thought I'd make it out alive. Told myself I'd take time and give the world a try. I was alive. My.
It is Wednesday, November the 15th, 2017. You're checking out the premier sports and beer podcast coming to you from New Jersey tonight. That's Low and Outside, lowandoutside.com. We thank you all for taking the time out of your very busy week to give our little podcast here a listen. We definitely appreciate it. So before we do anything else and before we introduce the panel, let's try this one.
Why don't you go back home to your street malls and drink your Zimas and Smirnoff Ices? Oh yeah! The greatest beer in all the
Somebody from the bar.
Yeah, I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. Cause I'm feeling kind of parched. Stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge. Stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge.
Tonight I'm going back to the something I've had before on the show. It's just a Dogfish 60-minute IPA, so nothing extravagant to talk about, but it's kind of an old reliable. It's a 6%er that you don't have to really knock yourself out over, but it's not drinking a Bud Light. So let's go to Lincoln Park. Is that where we're at tonight? Lincoln Park, New Jersey.
That is where we're at tonight.
With longtime listener, first-time caller. JP, how are you, pal?
What's going on, bud? How we doing? I am tonight drinking a Magnify Brewing half batch double IPA. 8%. It's actually pretty good. It's nice and tasty. Perfectly hoppy, and I like it a lot.
But an 8%, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what that does to you by like the second segment in the show.
I'm a big guy. It's going to take more than one.
Oh boy, the gauntlet has been laid down. Denville.
What's up?
Brett, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
No, I'm hanging in.
Happy, yay, Magnify.
Yeah.
And Jeff, you are 100% right, man. That is old reliable. That is a perfect beer. Just like I got beers laying around. I just need something.
Yeah.
Dogfish 60-minute every time.
Right. Can't go wrong.
What
are you drinking?
Other half, Space Dream. It is a oat cream India Pale Ale. Nothing crazy, 6%. So I'm with you. But I talk about these guys from time to time on the show. They're just They haven't made an IPA that I haven't absolutely just loved.
They're in New York, you said, right?
They're in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They just opened a brand new tasting room, which is finally spacious and provides a lot of variety and selection. Their old tasting room was like, it was like a 2x2 box. and you throw 500 beer hipsters in there on a Saturday morning, and it's a very crowded place, but they just expanded. It's beautiful, so it's perfect. There's a million choices there, but Space Dreams, another one. They knocked it out of the park.
Nice. I know that at some point tonight, Nikki is going to be joining us. I think he's having a little bit of a technological hang up. So when he jumps in here tonight, we will get his take on what he's drinking, et cetera, et cetera. So let's start.
Who cares?
So we got a list, a fine list of who cares items to touch on tonight. The first one that I have here is Donald Trump. We don't talk a lot of politics on this show, but this one is apropos. We had talked last week before we went off the air that the Ball kid that's at UCLA. I don't even remember which Lee it is, but La or whatever. I don't know.
It's a La.
But he was arrested in China with two other teammates for shoplifting. President Trump was over in China at the time, and he claims that he spoke to the Chinese government and got these three gentlemen off the hook, and was tweeting that he was looking for a thank you from these three guys for doing so. I don't know which one it was, but one of them promptly did thank him via Twitter, because that's the world that we live in. And the latest update is that all three of them are now suspended indefinitely from UCLA.
And all three of them actually did thank him in their press conference today.
They did. Who held the press conference? Did the school hold it, or did the Ball family organize it?
I think it was UCLA who held it, and it was probably sponsored by Big Baller Brand.
So they hold on. So I know that the last part is a joke, but UCLA suspends these kids indefinitely from the team, but then holds a press conference and lets them talk.
I think it was because it was such a national story that they really had no choice but to get these kids in front and play nice with the media. And the Big Brawler Brand thing is kind of a joke, because the ball child, when he got off the plane and when he got on the plane, was wearing his Big Brawler Brand T-shirt. Right. So obviously Daddy told him, hey, all merchandising opportunities are good merchandising opportunities.
Because he's a genius, and I've been saying it since day one.
Because there might be somebody that watched the coverage of that they didn't already get over the head with whatever LeVar Ball is peddling. I mean, that's not new, right? Big Baller Brand. If you're paying attention to the story of the kid getting arrested in China, you don't know what Big Baller Brand is, then I don't know what to tell you.
They're also setting up pop-up shops all around the world.
Are they?
Yeah.
Where'd you hear that?
Twitter, I think.
That must be true. Did the president tweet it?
No, the president didn't. But there's so much to digest about this. I don't even think it belongs in Who Cares, because it's insane. There's so many layers. Like, first of all, we never talk about Trump on this thing. And
no. Well, it's not really about him, to be honest.
Somehow he
made it about him, though. He did make it about him a little.
All right, but wait, here's a question. I'm gonna ask this to you guys right now.
Yeah.
Okay? This is non-political.
Sure.
If he wasn't there,
yeah,
like, it's incredible timing that our president, whoever it was in Southeast Asia at the time that this happened, right?
Yeah.
So if the president isn't there, are those kids still in prison right now?
I think a phone call works just the same.
But I don't know. But I don't know that he would bother to. Right?
No, take. It doesn't matter. The president.
The president. That's
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Trump or anybody.
Or she, I guess, because it could easily
he
be.
Or she. Yes.
Right.
But I don't think that they would bother to pick up the phone and do that. The fact that he was there, I think, is the impetus behind even having that be a part of the conversation. I just think it's hysterical that, like, the president, like you said, regardless of who it is over there in a very scary part of the world right now on a diplomatic visit, and he has to legitimately spend time asking the leadership in China to release LeVar Ball's kid from Chinese prison.
Oh, by the way, let's stop talking about North Korea just for a second, and can you let these three knuckleheads off?
Yeah. What do you think the offer was? He was like, I'll give you the best.
A pair of Big Baller Brand shoes.
Yeah, what were the kids worth?
These shoes are the best. Believe me, you're gonna love them. And the guy's like, yeah, I know, they're made here. I'm very.
I know. I make them down the road for 9 cents. Yeah, they're great.
My nephew makes them. I'm very familiar with the Big Baller brand.
How many big ballers? How many Big Baller shoes was it worth to get these kids back? Like, how many pairs did Trump pawn off on the Chinese president?
Well, they were retailing for what, like $600 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So I think each kid's got to be worth at least 2 pairs, right?
At least 2. If this president has kids or anything like that, the kids are going to need Big Baller brand shoes too.
Right.
So, I mean, you're talking before you know it, 2 dozen pairs.
Which really cuts into your bottom line, right? I mean,
It does.
I mean, I don't know. I think that we're missing here is that there's a golden opportunity for the Trump organization and Big Baller brand to co-brand some of this apparel, don't you think? Like, can't you see like Big Baller brand ties?
I bet you $1 million right now that LeVar Ball has tried to contact Trump to talk about some sort of partnership between the two of them.
I think it's probably a good call, no?
This move benefits everybody, right? Like, Trump gets good press from this because he saved the kids, and the kids can go off the plane with all these cameras on them wearing Big Baller brand gear, so they're getting free promotion. And one hand washes the other, man.
Right.
The Trump sport loafer.
Right. I don't know. I heard on Michael K show, I guess it was yesterday, Rosenberg was talking about how if Saturday Night Live doesn't get Baldwin in there and Kenan Thompson to play LeVar Ball and just have some sort of weird like skit to open it up, it's a huge missed opportunity.
That'd be a great opening sketch.
Yeah, I agree. It would be an awesome opening opportunity.
Oh God.
Who cares?
Ezekiel Elliott. He's going to serve a suspension.
Poor him.
He said today. This was the quote, I guess, from his agents. I think it is. This decision is in no way admission of any wrongdoing, and Mr. Elliott is pleased that the legal fight mounted by him and his team resulted in the disclosure of many hidden truths regarding this matter, as well as public exposure of the NFL's mismanagement of its disciplinary process. Mr. Elliott will maximize this time away from the game and come back even stronger, both on and off the field. He intends to release a final personal statement in the upcoming weeks, and until then, we have no further comment.
I'm sure Mr. Elliott said all of that, and I'm excited about the hidden truths. I found so many of them during this case.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
Yeah. I mean,
like all the hidden truths. Like, there's so many. I can't even name them all.
Right.
But I'm so glad they were disclosed.
I'm struggling to find one. I'm struggling.
Well, it's just because you can't sort through them all. Like, there's a lot. There's so many to process.
Good point.
That one doesn't just come to mind right away.
Right. Is it the girl that he abused while he was already a pro? Is it a girl that he abused when he was in college? Is it a girl that he abused in high school? You know, like which scenario are we really struggling with here? You know?
Allegedly.
Yes. Yeah. Just like OJ.
Who cares?
Oscar De La Hoya. This is your wheelhouse, Brett. Golden Boy.
Yeah, he's in the blender.
he's in the blender with Victoria. He said he's gonna come out of retirement and he could beat Conor McGregor in 2 rounds.
What's he gonna do? Wheel himself to the ring?
It's hilarious. Like, man, and I defended him a little bit on the show when he came out and he trashed McGregor Mayweather. I don't know if I defended him, but I said he was honest and that he was right, because like I thought that whole fight was a money grab. Like, Floyd has pretty much admitted the only reason why I came out was to make an absurd amount of money in this fight.
Right. And why wouldn't you?
And why wouldn't you? Yeah, why wouldn't you? Right. So, but he comes out and he calls it that. And I was like, yeah, man, you're right. And like, why are you talking about Conor right now, dude?
Well, you can't tell me that it's not a money grab for him.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You know, he lost 3 of his final 4 fights or 3 of his final 5 fights before he retired. Like, he was done. He's old. You're not going to – first of all, I'll tell you this right now. Conor McGregor would beat your ass.
How old is he? Do you know how old he is? I don't know how old he is.
Oscar? I don't know. Let's get our stat boy
That's a
on
good question.
him. Anyway,
I agree with you. I think Conor would beat him.
You know,
mean,
Conor beat you. All right. So
I mean, especially, you know, if they set it up and Conor had some time to actually train as opposed to what he had for the Mayweather fight, which he didn't really have any time to train for, I think he would win.
Oscar is 44 years old. He will be 45 in February.
We get fucking smoked.
like Conor would crush him.
He would get smoked.
So you know, I don't know. You know, and I felt the exact opposite about, you know, Mayweather and McGregor. I thought Floyd would smoke him, and I think in a lot of respects Floyd did beat him soundly, but McGregor did have a nice showing, a nicer showing than I thought he would. He kicked the shit out of Oscar De La Hoya.
I just think it's hysterical, to your point, that like he came out and was trashing the Mayweather McGregor fight, and now suddenly he saw how big the pot was, and he was like, well, who cares if I can get half that pot? It's a huge payday, so yeah, I'll do it.
Well, doesn't he as a promoter make quite a bit of money still in the boxing world?
Yes,
I mean,
most definitely. They had Triple G Canelo, 3 weeks after Mayweather McGregor, and you know, that was unfortunate timing for them because they had that fight set before Mayweather McGregor. So if Mayweather McGregor didn't get set, they would have made even more money. But that was huge for Oscar. Like he's doing fine.
But he's not making the money that Mayweather walked away from that fight with.
No, not in one pop, not for 42 minutes of work.
No. Whatever. I can't.
Who cares?
Boxing. Tyrod Taylor's out. I don't know if you guys saw this. His replacement, Nathan Peterman.
Who?
Like, what? What are we doing? Like, I get it. The guy, you know, Taylor had a rough outing last week.
Yeah.
And I guess he hasn't really played all that well in a couple of weeks.
He hasn't, but like I saw a great tweet today. I wish I saved it for the show. Shoot. But they tweeted the last 2 years of Mariota's stats versus Taylor's stats.
Right.
Taylor's stats are better in every category. Completion percentage, yardage, touchdowns, interceptions. But yet everybody holds Marcus Mariota in this pretty decent regard right now for how young he is. Like, he's not getting benched.
They have to be close in age, right, to each other?
I think they're the
close.
Yeah, I don't know.
If they're not close, I mean, if they're not the same age, they're definitely within a year or two. I mean, they're not, you know, you're not talking a 5-year difference. That's funny. I didn't realize that their stats were that close.
Yeah, I mean,
Taylor's 28.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, Nick.
And he's also he's a free agent, right?
Yeah, they're not going to pick up his option. They pretty much say, we don't believe in you. You're done.
You know where he'll be next year.
GTS.
Are you going to bet Mad Dog on that?
I was thinking he would be in Miami, to be honest with you.
No, they have this weird love affair with Ryan Tannehill.
I think he would fit the Miami system, the Adam Gase system, better than Tannehill would.
Yeah,
I think he's closer to like he has the different ability that Rodgers had, like to make the play with his legs. Tannehill doesn't have that. I think he'd be a better fit for you guys than Tannehill. No,
I don't know. I mean, we probably suck it either way. So
that's a good point. Hey, what are you drinking? We missed you in the beginning.
For once, I got something new this weekend. Lone Eagle Brewing Company, Maiden Flight West Coast style IPA.
Ooh, where are they from?
They are from Flemington, New Jersey.
Nice. Jersey brewery?
Yeah, I didn't even know. I just saw the can like yesterday when I was, it's Jersey. 8% alcohol. Pretty good.
So it was just in a local store.
Yeah, it was in the Joe Canals on 46, so.
Nice. Hey, while we're talking about Jersey distribution of beer, I got a question for definitely for Brett. If the other two you clowns want to jump in, you can. You look at the what's the name of that brewery that you just said, Nick? That this beer's from?
Lone Eagle Brewing Company.
You got Lone Eagle, right? You've got Carton. You've got Dark City Brewing, Asbury Park Brewing. Like all these you can find in various liquor stores throughout the state. What the hell is Kane doing? Like, why are they not releasing anything in a liquor store? Like, they don't, not a single thing, not even Head High.
I was going to say that because, my friend lives down by there, and, I always think about, there's Kane Brewing, but I don't see them in the store.
They don't distribute to stores at all. All you can see them are is bars, or you have to go down there and you can pick up, cans or bottles or growlers there.
Their beer's so good too. Their beer's so good.
Well, do you have any idea, like, why somebody, like, as somebody who follows the industry a little bit more closely than I do you have any idea what the rationale would be behind a brewery?
I want you to use the correct term, industry insider.
Right. As an industry insider, you can check out your industry insider reviews of beer on loanoutside.com.
Amen.
Yeah. Honestly, do you have any rationale as to why they wouldn't be distributing at least like a one flagship beer in liquor stores throughout the state?
I've heard this question asked before, and what I remember some of the answers being were that he's just happy doing what he's doing.
Dumb.
I don't know if that's true. I really don't. It was on Facebook one time, I think. So like,
I was gonna take a random guess in that he doesn't have the capital to.
I don't think that's true at all.
For mass distribution, even regional distribution.
Well, from my understanding,
dude, his place is one of the biggest places.
It's one of the biggest places, and from my understanding, Mike Kane, he's doing this after having a pretty successful career on Wall Street.
Okay, so
he's like the Marlins. He's like the Marlins man of beer.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think that's it, but I just was curious. I didn't know if you heard that, and then
that's what I've heard is that he's just happy doing what he's doing. But
whatever. This one,
who cares?
This one I put on for you, JP. This is part of why I called you and asked you to come on tonight.
This one hits me hard.
Yeah, me too. So Italy's going to miss the World Cup for the first time in 60 years.
Yeah.
They just fired. Is it the coach or they fired the head of their program? They fired somebody important.
They fired their manager, and they're probably going to fire the head of the federation soon.
Probably the team chef too.
You know what I love about soccer? If you lose like one match, you get fired. Like
or your head cut off.
Yeah, like they're like you lost. Yeah. You're fired. You're fired. You lose everything. You're fired. You lost one game. You're out.
But you got that, and the U.S. is out. So JP, as the soccer guy, as the World Cup, is the World Cup this year? It is, right?
It's next summer. So yeah, it's within this year.
This coming summer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So who the hell am I going to root for? Why as a guy that would either root for the U.S. or when the U.S. goes out, root for Italy? Why should I be watching? Why should I forget about the World Cup?
Most of your standards are still in it. Argentina's there.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Italy's there. Germany's there. Messi's there. Portugal's there. Spain. Spain's there. But you are missing a lot of notable teams.
Don't care.
You are missing a lot of notable teams.
Yeah. Hell yeah. What were you gonna say, Brett?
I've reconciled with this question myself.
You have.
And I'm being honest. This is my answer.
Yeah.
Is the United States women's team. That's who I will hitch my wagon to the next time a big,
but they're not
event comes around.
And this is pure ignorance, but I think I'm right. The Women's World Cup and the Men's World Cup.
Yeah, they're different.
They're different.
They don't play in the same year.
They don't play in the same year, but as far as I'm not gonna just be go Canada or something none of that matters to me.
That's not really my question. My question is for the Men's World Cup with especially in our part of the country, right? You have a lot of Italian Americans in our part of the country.
Hey.
You got 4 of them on the show right now, right? Mm-hmm. So when the U.S. went out, I think we just naturally,
I'll root for Italy.
Yeah, sure.
We're rooting for Italy, but realistically, with both of those teams not even competing at all, I have no interest in even watching the World Cup.
That was my point.
See, as a soccer lover, I'll still watch it because it is the pinnacle of the sport. I mean, the greatest players in the world are all playing, and it's still going to be a very enjoyable and entertaining tournament regardless. I know there's been some talk recently.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know there's been some talk recently, and it came out today that the U.S. is possibly looking into doing almost like a losers tournament in the United
Oh my
States,
God!
which would include the teams that missed out, like Chile, Netherlands, Italy, the United States.
So we're
So
gonna,
they're doing the NIT. They're
we're gonna
doing
hold the NIT.
You're talking about doing like a World Cup NIT, yeah.
that's horrible. That's so
play-
dumb.
You want to talk about a money grab? That's exactly what that is. It's a
Can we-
complete
can we-
money grab.
We put little nets up like they play at like Zog Sports, and we can play garden too.
Play half field.
Yuck. Gross. Whatever. Soccer.
Who cares?
Bring on the Women's World Cup. Oh, this was good. Ben McAdoo today had a, quote, long, hard, honest meeting, quote.
With
his-
himself?
With his players.
Was it about?
Sounds like
was it
him in his
about-
office by himself.
Was it about what was on the tape?
What does that even mean? We had a long, hard, and honest meeting today. Like, dude, you should have had that long, hard, and honest meeting like 6 weeks ago. Like, what are you doing?
Or when the season starts, like if you have to have a meeting to be like, guys, you need to try.
Yeah.
There's a problem. There's a big problem, and it's not something a meeting is going to solve. So
Have any of you ever had a coach that legitimately you just didn't want to play for, so it affected how you played?
My first year in high school, we had a coach, Craig Penna, and he was so like not relatable to the players and just not a good guy that no one really cared about what he was saying. So every time he would talk, we would just kind of laugh.
Okay. So that I have to imagine that that's on a larger scale. It's what's happened to the Giants. Either
Okay, could you imagine like him talking to the team and then like you have like Eli Manning and a couple of the offensive linemen just kind of snickering in the back like, is this guy kidding me or what?
I don't think Eli does that. I think it's more like Jack Rabbit and freaking Brandon Marshall and like some of the absolute clowns. But either you, Brett, or JP, have you ever had a coach that you just basically shut down because or ignored what he said?
No, not really.
Not really. I mean, I did have one utterly destroy my love of the game for a couple years, but not where it like affected me playing.
See, having been on a staff where I've watched players react to a head coach like that, like Nick, you'll remember it was I think either your junior year or your senior year in the basketball team.
Oh, that clown that was coaching Max and Tony.
Even before that, he was coaching Corey. Right.
Okay.
And Corey would come in every day and just ready to quit. And like, I would have to sit with him and like other guys and be like, listen, like if you have an issue and you can't go to the guy, like you can come to me and I'll relay the message to him in a way that it's going to, it won't sound like it's like my point is not that I did anything that was, transformational, but there's gotta be other guys on every one of these staffs where situations like this occur, where a player could go to them and be like, listen, like McAdoo's a dick. And we don't believe what he's saying, so we need you to work with. Like, there has to be that go-between guy, right? Or is the entire staff?
It's got to be Spagnuolo, right? I feel like they respect him.
I don't know. His defense has looked worse than the offense the last.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of something though. The common denominator between Ben McAdoo and Joe Philbin were they both were offensive coordinators for Aaron Rodgers, and it kind of propped them up to be these great coaches, and they were elevated to head coaching positions, but they both proved that they can't lead men and they can't have any respect from the players. So what does that tell you when you're looking for a head coach? Be careful who you pick.
You know who I love, Nick? Josh McDaniels as the New England Patriots offensive coordinator. Because if ever he's gone outside of that, he's been terrible. And he's had Tom Brady to work with.
Right, and he'll claw his way back to the offensive coordinator position.
Exactly, and it's just amazing. You're right. What a player like Aaron Rodgers would do for you as a coordinator. Like, make people think you're some great person. It's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
You know?
come on.
I don't think it's fair to throw McDaniels in there though, because he did have some success when he was in Denver initially. When he had Jay Cutler, Jay Cutler had like his best years when Josh McDaniels was there, and then didn't he?
Kyle Orton too.
Didn't he win a playoff game with Tim Tebow, or was he not there at the time?
No, that was John Fox.
That was Fox, yeah.
He drafted Tebow because he thought he could turn him into a professional quarterback,
Which was stupid as shit.
but I think he would be a better head coach than either.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I'm just saying I like McDaniels as the offensive coordinator. Like,
Right, and some people are made for that position, and that's fine. That's fine. But don't put them in front of a group of men and say lead them. You can't.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, you even look at, you want to go back to New England, Brett. You even look at the string of like extraordinarily successful coordinators that they've had. Romeo Crennel was arguably one of the best defensive coordinators, that franchise had seen. And then he went to
Charlie Weiss.
He went to Cleveland and he took a dump on the field. And then Charlie Weiss was
literally laughed out of football. Pretty much.
But when he was
ate his way out of football.
Yeah.
One Reservoir Tavern meatball parm sandwich. Did I ever tell you my Charlie Weiss story?
No.
So my wife's cousin is a guy by the name of Chuck Mound, and he played at Rutgers actually, JP.
Yep.
And he's famous for having run like a 4.2 40 or something like that, or like a 4.1 40. So he has like a speed school, right?
He worked at Del Martin for a while.
Yeah. He was one of the first guys to have like speed schools, and now they've popped up all over and blah blah blah. But he used to run college combines out of the bubble over there at Giant Stadium, and they would then go back and have a banquet type of thing where all the college coaches would come and they'd serve them a meal, and they could all talk about the kids that they saw whatever. And it happened at the place where Sperone got married. I don't remember the name of that place, but that's where they had it. So we're there. It's me and my wife because we volunteered and we helped our cousin out that day. And Charlie Weiss is there. My mother-in-law's there. My mother-in-law went to Boonton High School, and Charlie Weiss coached at Boonton High School. That was one of his stops before he ended up catching on, I think, with the Giants, and then so on and so forth. And so my mother-in-law, who's got no shame, just walks right up to him and she goes, "Hey," and he's got this Super Bowl ring from the Pats that's legitimately, like, no exaggeration, it's got like the size, it's the head of it is like the size of a flip phone. Like, it's enormous, right? And she goes up to him and she goes, "Hey, Charlie Weiss." And he goes, "Yeah, how are you?" She goes, "Yeah, I'm a Boonton High School graduate." And he goes, "Oh, Boonton." He goes, "The Reservoir Tavern, the best meatball sandwiches I've ever had." Way to break apart that stereotype, you fat bastard.
Hey, he's not wrong. He is not wrong.
No, he's not. You're right.
You know how many times he's probably said that? That's probably his go-to line when somebody says they're from the area.
Well, what else are you gonna say?
Yeah.
You sucked then and you suck now.
No, this was like the beginning of his Notre Dame tenure. That, I think this was like the first off season that he was at Notre Dame. So he had just started there. That was like his first recruiting session. If you remember his beginning time at Notre Dame there, where he still had Willingham's, right? It was Willingham right before him, right?
Yeah, he won with Willingham's kids.
And then when he got his recruits in there, they started to take a dive. But anyway, that's my Charlie Weiss story. But to double it back, I have to imagine that he was a lot like Ben McAdoo, that he was really destined for offensive play calling rather than managing an entire roster. So
Destined for mediocrity.
Listen, there's going to be a time in the next couple of weeks when Yampo's on the show and Sean's on the show, and we get our whole crew back, and I'm just going to hold a quote long, hard, honest meeting.
Who cares?
Speaking of that, we have some news to announce today. We will not be the new afternoon drive show replacing Mike Francesa.
They offered you though, right?
No.
My agent didn't say anything about it. My agent did not say we had an offer.
I got nothing to say about it. Okay, I got nothing to say. They gave the job to Chris Carlin of Rutgers football announcing, Maggie Gray of Sports Illustrated, who I've never heard of, and former Baltimore Raven and New York Jet Bart Scott.
Can't wait.
It sounds like they just kind of pulled three names out of a hat, and we're like, okay, you guys work together.
They've never worked together before, ever.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, neither did Boomer and Carton, and that worked out pretty well until Carton.
Right.
And he got a new guy too, right? Boomer got a new guy this morning.
He got Greg Giannotti, who was the former producer for Joe and Evan in the morning. And I think he's pretty talented guy. I like that hire. I think that's a good hire.
He's Guido.
Well, also to be fair, Carlin's been doing afternoon drive down in Philly for about a year now, and apparently he's been doing very well down there. Like, if you can win over the Philadelphia fan base, then you got to be doing a pretty good job. And apparently, he did win them over. There's a lot of very upset people that he's leaving. I mean, take that for what it is.
To be fair, it's easy to win the Philadelphia crowd over when your football team starts the way they've started this year.
Well, that is true also.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, if it was one of those years where they were not doing so well, it might have been a different environment. Carlin's not the problem. I don't have a problem with Carlin. I mean, he's paid his dues. He came up through the fan. He's a
Continent.
Yeah.
He's going to keep the Rutgers gig. He said he's not giving that up. That's an interesting move. My issue is you're just to Nick's point, you're just throwing three names together that have no experience together. To me, it's shades of Diamond David Lee Roth when he came in, and he was the guy that was going to replace Stern after Stern went to Satellite, and he just flamed out immediately because he just had no business doing it. You've got these guys who have had no time to work together, and suddenly they're inheriting the most coveted spot on the most coveted sports radio station in the biggest market in the country. That's a lot of pressure for somebody that has never done it before.
Well, apparently the woman was apparently the third choice from what I've read.
The third choice between what?
It was going to be Carlin and Scott, and then they wanted to make it a 3-person team with a woman, and apparently she was the third choice.
So they had two other women before that?
Kim, what's her name from the Yankees?
Kim Jones.
She's at the NFL now.
Yeah, she was the first choice, and she turned it down, and there was somebody else that also turned it down, and then this woman from Sports Illustrated is the one who ended up.
She does Moose and Maggie on Saturday mornings.
Yes.
I've listened to her, and like I said, I think the three of them individually are good on the radio, but like I said, I don't know how they're going to be when they're on the radio together.
Who the hell turns that job down?
I would have loved. Kim Jones does shows on the Fan too,
that's what
randomly. So I don't know why she would turn down that gig if they liked her that much.
She probably makes more money in freelance doing multiple places than she would just doing the one show, a 3-person show.
The opportunity to launch your career like that. I mean, even if these guys don't pan out, the experience of having that afternoon drive show. Did you hear Mad Dog's response? Yeah,
he said that they got it wrong, or I forget. What did he say?
He was like, but Scott, he wasn't even a very good linebacker. He's okay linebacker. He thinks he's a Hall of Famer.
You sound like Roger Rabbit, dude.
I know. I tell him that all the time.
His opinion means nothing.
He was like, how's it gonna call baseball? April through August. Like, shut up. Go back to Satellite, you dope.
Or High Heat on MLB Network.
No, anyway, it will not be us. Anybody here would you have turned down that job, Nick?
Yeah, I wouldn't leave this podcast.
You would have.
Who cares?
You're fine. Okay, you're fine. College football. The BCS, or what is it? Not the BCS, the college football playoff.
That stupid show they have.
The rankings came out. That was a great show. I thought what they did last night was perfect. They put it on at halftime of a really awesome college basketball game. It was, to me, it kept me watching during halftime when I would have otherwise tuned out. But the rankings, the top 4 right now in this order, they got Alabama, Clemson, Miami, and Oklahoma. I guess let's take it from the top. Brett, do you have any issue with the way that the top 4 are currently constituted?
No, not right now. I mean, I tweeted out the other night that I had it Bama, Oklahoma, Clemson, Miami, in that order. But I had all 4 of the teams, so it doesn't really.
You would have Oklahoma 2, though.
I would have Oklahoma 2. I'd have Clemson 3 and Miami 4.
Okay. Nick?
But no, they're fine.
No, I had no issue. I mean, I find it funny on Twitter when people complain, like, how could you put, Clemson in front of Miami or this or that? It's like you said, Jeff, it'll all play out by the time it matters. Like, it doesn't really matter right now because if, as long as Miami keeps winning, they're going to get in. as long as Wisconsin keeps winning, they're probably going to get in, and it'll play itself out. Who cares?
So JP, you're probably the biggest college football fan we've got on tonight's panel. What's your take on that, on those top four? Did they get it right? First of all, I guess the question is, are the four teams, regardless of how they're placed, 1, 2, 3, and 4, are the four teams, in your opinion, the four right teams?
I think the four teams are the right teams.
Okay. Are they in the right order?
I don't think, like Nikki says, I don't think the order matters right now. Any major college football fan is going to tell you the order right now doesn't matter, because if you look at this right now, Clemson and Miami are going to play each other in a couple weeks anyway. Whoever wins that game is going. The other team's going to drop out. If Wisconsin, who's at 5, is the first one out, if they went out and beat whoever is the team from the East in the Big Ten and they go undefeated, there is absolutely zero chance that they leave an undefeated team out of the playoff. So there is still so much to go.
Unless of course, it's UCF.
Unless, of course, it's UCF, yes, because they're
not in the big conference yet.
Yeah, they're not in a big conference. They don't have the quality wins. Wisconsin is playing Michigan this week, so that's if they beat Michigan this week, that's a quality win for them. Michigan is a ranked team, regardless of what their schedule, regardless of what their record is. It'll be considered a quality win as a ranked team, and and it'll help them considerably. You actually might see Wisconsin in the top 4 next week with their quality win at 11-0. So
I was very impressed with their win against Iowa. I think Iowa's a good team. They smacked around Ohio State. They hung with Penn State. They should have beat Penn State. I think they're a good football team.
Yeah, but neither of everybody's swinging from Ohio State and Penn State's jock, and to me, neither team has put together a season that's impressed me.
No, I'm not impressed with their season either. But they're the ranked 9 and 10. Like, they're not the worst teams out there. And Iowa beat the crap out of one and should have beat the other. I just thought they're an impressive football team. And then Wisconsin went down and laid the smackdown on Iowa. So that to me was a really nice win.
And let me tell you something. Jonathan Taylor is absolutely the real deal. I actually think he's better than Saquon Barkley. He's a true freshman, I think, and he's probably, in my opinion, better than Saquon already. So it's going to be really interesting to see this kid's career take off and like in these next couple big games, how he handles that and pulls that team forward, because that kid is just incredible.
Well, here's my take on the whole thing is you look at Alabama. I think Alabama's the clear-cut best team in the country based on history, based on what they've done, based on their coach, et cetera, et cetera. So I have no problem with that. The issue that I have is you've got a Miami team here who beat the number 3 team in the country last week soundly, like beat the living piss out of them. They're undefeated. They've got to be the number 2 team in the country. Whether you think that they're good enough or not, they're undefeated and they just waxed the number 3 team in the country. They have to be ahead of Clemson. And then if Clemson goes ahead and beats them when they play head-to-head, then I have no problem with them dropping out. But I don't understand the rationale behind having an undefeated team behind Clemson. I don't get it.
And they also smacked around a high-ranked Virginia Tech team the week before.
Yeah.
And you would think that this week would be a good week to move Alabama, to leave Alabama there, because they just squeaked by at Mississippi State. So I agree with you a little bit there. Miami probably could have been a good. I would have loved to have been in that room to see what they said on why they didn't put them higher.
Right. And I'm not saying they have to be one. They don't. But if you've got 2 undefeated teams to have they've got to be one of the top 2. They just do. The other issue I have with it is, Auburn, put a licking on Georgia this week. And now suddenly they're ranked higher than them, but they've got 2 losses. Look, I'm a big proponent of head-to-head, but at the same time, like you're then discounting everything else that Georgia's done this year just because they lost the 1 game to Auburn. Well, so I don't understand how you put a 2-loss team ahead of them, even if they did beat them head-to-head.
Because after that, all the 2-loss teams start. Then it goes Notre Dame, Ohio State, Penn State, USC, TCU, Oklahoma State, so on and so forth. So I do understand what you're saying, but it comes down to the fact that Auburn was if not 6, they were going to be 7, and you're going to put them just below Georgia when they just kicked the shit out of Georgia.
Yes.
Listen, the reality here is if you look at the top 7, Alabama, Clemson, Miami, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Auburn, Georgia, all 7 of those teams could be national champions. All 7 of them have the quality and the depth to become national champions. I think the reason you saw Auburn get pushed up, and this is where the human part of it comes in, I think they did that purposely to set up Alabama and Auburn, not this week because Alabama's playing Mercer, because the SEC decides that this is the week to play 1AAs.
Well, they got to make their money too. Mercer's got to make their money too.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's a human thing. They set that up to make Auburn, Alabama a big, high seed versus high seed. And honestly, if Alabama loses to Auburn, they don't make the playoff. Or I'm sorry, they don't make the conference championship, and that hurts them. It'll be Auburn and Georgia,
But okay, so that's fine, and I get all that, but I think that what you're saying kind of counteracts your argument here. Like the fact that you're going to put Auburn up that high and they've got 2 losses. Let's say they go and they beat Alabama, then you're going to put a 2-loss team in the playoff?
They can't jump Wisconsin though.
Right?
You can't jump Wisconsin.
Yeah, but if Auburn beats Alabama, then is Alabama out of the playoff and Auburn's in their place?
No, because Alabama could still probably get in as a 1-loss team.
No, you can't put Auburn in as a 2-loss team. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
If they beat Alabama and they win the SEC, why not?
Well, it depends on what the other teams are. If there's no other 2-loss teams and there's a bunch of 1-loss teams, how could you do that?
But that's my point. That's what I'm saying is I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen, Jeff. Like that scenario what you're saying could happen.
I could also win $1 million tomorrow.
You could.
I really hope you do. That'd be awesome.
Bring it right back to the podcast.
Yeah, sure. the lottery studios. That's what we'd have. But listen, we had talked. I guess it was last week about if Notre Dame runs the table that they would get in. Notre Dame's dead in the water now at this point. So I think that the happiest team in the country that Notre Dame lost has got to be Wisconsin, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because now they legitimately are in control of their own destiny. If they can win out, there's no way that you can possibly ignore them and leave them out of that playoff. Who do you think the best team out of any of those? You said the top 7 could win the national championship. Who do you think is the best team out of all of those teams, JP?
Right now, the sexy answer is Alabama, but
is it the real answer? I mean,
no, I honestly think Oklahoma is probably the best team.
Me too.
I agree.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, affirmatively, I think that they're the best team, and I think that, there might be some analysts out there, a college football analyst on ESPN that start, enjoying, a certain quarterback from Oklahoma. But let it be said that we talked about that guy first on this show. And we love him. And he's the best player in college football right now. The best team in college football right now.
I think I said it like week 2 or 3. I was like,
I know I did. I know I said it.
Forget about this.
I liked him last year. Fuck you.
Yeah. I liked him when he was in high school. All right.
No,
I like high school boys.
I went to preschool with him.
These hot guys.
Anyway, I liked him better than the kid from UCLA, better than the kid from USC early this year. If you remember, I was taking pictures next to a guy wearing a Mayfield Jet jersey this year at the Dolphin game. All right. So, okay. I think he's the best one there. Okay. I think
but the defense sucks.
Well, that's like any Big 12 team.
Big 12 football is a joke.
Yeah, well, their defense is actually better than most in the Big 12. So
yeah, they only give up 44 points a game instead of 48.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We've got a couple weeks left to kind of watch all this stuff unfold. Like we said, the Clemson Miami matchup is what's going to do the most damage one way or the other to the current top 4. In my opinion, and correct me if you guys can see another way through it, I think it's virtually impossible for these 4 teams to be the 4 teams that are in the playoff because those 2 teams have to square off against each other. Can you see a way? I can't.
No, I can't.
Yeah. So So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But either way, this is the time of year where college football, has become, must watch television rather. I would love to see them go more than 4 teams, as I've advocated for, since this podcast started way back last year. Maybe they're just not there yet, but I do think if you had 10 teams involved in this whole thing, forget about it. From late November till the new year, to right after the new year, college football would be just hot. Oh, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Last night, college basketball took a step away from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and put on a couple of good games on ESPN Uno, not ESPN Due or
Deportes
or the Ocho.
The Ocho.
Any of you watched those basketball games last night?
For about 8 minutes.
Nope. Nope, not a second.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch them. I was watching the Rutgers game.
You guys all suck. you had texted that I guess for the 8 minutes that you had watched it, you were watching the Duke.
Yes.
Taking. And you had texted that, yeah, this game is great and all, but it means absolutely nothing.
I mean, it's fun. I mean, I enjoy college basketball, but I'm not going to lie. I've never really hitched onto a team. Obviously, I'll root for Rutgers, but you know how that goes. But I never really hitched onto a team, so I only get excited like February, March. And like a game in November, I mean, does it really matter? They're both going to get in the tournament, right?
Well, to me, I kind of look at it the opposite way. Like, I think that's what makes college basketball awesome, is that you can have multiple powerhouses play each other at any point in the season, and the team that loses in a really hard-fought great game, it doesn't destroy their chances of winning a national championship. Like, I like the fact that you see, Izzo and Krzyzewski's teams playing each other in early November, where neither team has really figured out who the hell they are, regardless of how well coached they are. And, they're still figuring out what they can do, what they're good at. And then you can see that game again in March when it really matters. And, you have tape that you can look at of the team that you play. Like, to me, I think that's what's unique about college basketball, different from college football, where if you are Alabama and you lose to Auburn, your year's done. And I think that, the fact that it's not one and done in the beginning part of the season is what appeals to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts. I don't know.
Wake me up in conference tournament time.
Yeah,
you really won't pay attention at all until
I enjoy the occasional I enjoy the occasional UNC Duke matchup,
right.
And I just don't like Duke. So like whatever team's playing Duke, and then UNC's their big rival, I enjoy that. It's fun, and it's a great game. It's fun. The kids are pumped when they both go to both schools. It's just fun. But like aside from that, nope. Like a conference tournament, I'm all of a sudden all in. I'm like,
you have not experienced college basketball until you go down 287 and hit the rack in Piscataway, New Jersey, and that place is loud.
Dude, I'll go to a game. You guys want to go to a game? I'll go to a game.
Well, listen, I will preface. I will.
The place is half empty. You get $1 hot dogs. It's great. It's absolutely incredible.
And I'll preface this by saying when the team actually is playing well and there's more people there, it is a incredible environment. I'll agree with you, Nick.
Well, you morons can continue to sit there and talk about Rutgers basketball. I will sit here right now as the only one with a tie to any college basketball team that has any legitimacy right now.
They won by 20 something tonight.
They won by not quite 20. The Seton Hall Pirates are off to a 3-0 start. They're ranked number 22 in the country. I'm rocking my Seton Hall gear.
Love it,
Homer.
You know what the best part about Seton Hall is? I went to the Seton Hall Rutgers game when I was in school there at the rack. Seton Hall has a priest on the bench. The priest, a team priest, follows around the team, and then they have like a timeout, right? And the priest is kind of like in the back, like massaging the players' back, like, "Oh, relax, guys, relax."
You can't make jokes about priest massaging college boys' backs.
I was gonna say Del Barton doesn't have that.
It's even younger. Oh no.
No, but I think a lot of the Catholic schools have that. I don't think that's.
I just thought it was funny because I saw it in person for the first time. I was like, "Is that a priest?" And then like they call timeout, and the priest is like behind the power forward, like 6'11", massaging his shoulders or whatever he could reach.
Is he on a stool?
I don't know. It was funny.
He's giving out Eucharist at halftime. But anyway, number 22 team in the country. They beat up on Indiana tonight at home, 84-68. Angel Delgado, he's the veteran.
No. Angel.
Angel.
It's Angel. He's the veteran on that team. Finished with 19 and 11 tonight. He probably is. He's one of maybe the only guys on that team that has a legitimate shot at making an NBA roster after this year. I think that their ceiling is probably a top 15 team. Seton Hall, maybe they'll surprise me. But listen, they're an in-state team, and I think that they're gonna be there the whole year. They'll make the tournament and make a run. They've played very well in the Big East tournament the last couple of years, which is obviously very different from what it's been in our whole life. But Seton Hall making noise, man, making noise.
Is there like a network like for college basketball? Like
the Hall
or
was
like a
Fox Sports 1 tonight.
Like do they have a package? Does college basketball have a package?
A lot of college basketball is on ESPN.
I kind of want you guys to assign me a team, and like I follow them hardcore this year, like the whole year, all the way to tournament time.
No way.
Why?
You won't do it.
That's what I'm saying. I will if there's access to it. Like if I can find the games, I'll dedicate myself to like a college basketball team, and I'll watch them the entire time.
Well, let's dive into this just briefly, right? Just so we can come up with some criteria for it. So when you're watching basketball, what's the type of style that you like to watch your team play? Like, are you a defensive guy? Do you like shooters? Like, what gets you going when
like
you're
touchy, physical?
I like shooter. I like aggressive. I like aggression and
feisty
and shooters.
You're gonna hate the answer I'm gonna give you.
Give it to me.
The answer's Duke.
No, anybody but Duke. Anybody but Duke.
No, I rescind my request.
Anybody but Duke.
I'm telling you, that's the answer. They shoot the lights out of the ball and they're super aggressive.
Oh God!
I'll be honest with you. If you want to have like an interesting team to watch, it's kind of like a middling team that's kind of close to showing up big. Watch Minnesota this year.
All right, JP got it. All right,
Minnesota.
Listen, Minnesota right now is top 15. All right.
Yeah, wait. All right, give me this too, real quick, JP. Do you think they can make the tournament? Do you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay, because I don't want to dedicate this entire season to a team that's not going to.
Then Jeff will put him in his finals on every bracket he has.
All right. I'm in on Minnesota. Okay, guys.
I was going to say, to be honest, I was going to tell you you should latch on to the team that Timmy's a big fan of. You should rock the KU.
Yeah. No, I think I want a little bit of a lesser team. Like I don't think I want to like.
I think Minnesota fits that criteria.
Yeah, let's go Minnesota. I'm gonna watch them.
Or what about the U? Like you could be like you can't tell me.
I would love to watch. Are they good? Are they?
Yeah,
they're pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, the U's pretty good.
They're top 15 team.
Ooh, give me the U. The U is back. Give me the U.
Actually, right.
All right.
Did you see?
You'll probably be able to find the U along.
Chain.
Yes.
Did you see the Rock tweet a video of him talking about the U before they played Notre Dame? Did you see it?
No. I gotta get it.
He's out like in the middle of the wilderness, I guess, wherever his house is, and he's talking about that. Let's go Canes, blah 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 blah. And then he goes, "If you smell," like he screams in the top of his lungs. He goes, "What the Canes are cooking?" I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
I love The Rock.
He might be your next president. You should love him.
I might vote for him if he's got a decent platform.
How could you not? So
people vote.
When does platform matter with presidential elections anymore?
Yeah.
He's got some good catchphrases. That's what it would be. I'd like to
lay the smackdown on all the Rudy Poo candy asses.
I'd like to see him on the podium calling Ted Cruz a Rudy Poo candy ass.
Yeah.
By the way, I know this is a little bit off your radar, guys, but the turnover chain apparently has been stolen by Ohio State's wrestling team, who is like number 2 in the country. They now have a pin chain. So when a wrestler pins somebody, they get the chain. Talk about
That sounds like eerily sexual.
Ugh.
The best thing that I can talk about wrestling is at my old high school on the ceiling.
Yeah, that was cool.
There was a banner that hung on the ceiling that JP, you're probably familiar with because I think you probably had to read it a lot. It said, "If you can read this, you're pinned." Actually,
ask Brian Donnelly about that. Ask Brian Donnelly about that. He read it several times when I wrestled him.
We'll make sure to tag him now as we go to it.
Just so you guys know,
These guys from Peptos got a case of squirts, but I still drink.
A last call for alcohol. So what you need? One bourbon.
All right, Brett, I cut you off. You were about to say something that was super insightful.
Well, for me, it is.
Yeah.
The U is playing tomorrow night on the ACC network. So I'm now Googling how I can get the ACC network extra.
I think you can get it.
Some illegal website.
You have Apple TV or a Roku?
Fire Stick.
You can probably get it through that too.
All right.
I think that's probably your best bet.
Oh, ACC Network Extra can be accessed on computers, smartphones, tablets, and TVs that are capable of streaming ESPN. Boom!
Told you. Bang.
All right.
Lock it up. You actually might even have it with your DirecTV package. I'm not sure what package you have.
I have a pretty minimal one. I have to shell out a ton of money for Sunday ticket. So
you have a minimal package.
These hot guys.
I mean, very the smallest one that they make.
Biggest pair you ever seen, Dingleberry. Last call. JP, first time, long time. You have anything you want to throw out?
By my my watch here, I believe the self-imposed Yampo 2-week ban is up this week.
I believe so, but he bailed on the show, so you never know.
Well, with that being said, I will give him advice and say Rutgers plus 11, take it to the bank.
Did they cover the spread last week?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, by like 2 points.
By a touchdown.
What was the spread, like 31?
It was like 31. They lost by 29.
31. Yeah, they just missed it.
I'm sorry, I was too busy drinking in the
I don't blame
building. I was there, so
you were in Penn State for that game.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, our buddy John Casal brought us. He's a season ticket holder, and showed me a good time. It was a lot of fun, actually.
Nice. Did you get to see the locker room or no?
No.
How about the showers?
Showers were yeah.
Way to take it a little farther, Nick. Nick, last call. What do you got?
And everyone's talking about the U being back, and good for them. I like the U, but you know what? The New Jersey Devils are back, and they are hot, baby. They are hot. They were down 4-1 to the Blackhawks in Chicago. They come back. They win 7-5. I'm hyped about this team. I'm hyped.
What do you think's hotter, the Devils or Nick's microphone? Which one? What's hotter?
Clip.
Yeah, seriously. When you listen back to the show, you're like over and over again, screaming into the microphone. Yampo's not here. You can take it easy.
Sorry.
Devils are playing well?
They are. They're in first place.
Very well.
Nice. It's November. We'll see if that holds. Bubby, what do you got?
You know what? I'm so mad, dude. About that like small period, that like 3-minute period before you fall asleep at night where you think you're still awake and you're thinking you have very lucid thoughts.
Sure.
And then Jerry Sandusky comes in your bed.
This is heavy on the Sandusky, huh?
Aggressive.
These hot guys.
And then you wake up the next morning and you have like virtually no recollection of those 3 minutes.
Right.
Last night, I swear to you, I had the greatest like last call ever in my head. I was like, I need to talk. I was like fired up. I remember being like, I need to bring this up on last call tomorrow. It's bullshit. This is the reason why it's bullshit. I can't remember what I had at all. I tried searching for it all day. Like I tried looking like sports stories, everything. I don't know. So I have nothing.
Okay.
Unless anybody knows what the ACC network is on DirecTV, hit us up on Twitter.
I think there's a Google. You can Google that.
I am, but there's shitty results right now.
I think it's only available on Watch ESPN, actually, like the app itself.
Which you have. You just have to enter in your direct.
Yeah, you just need to enter in your DirecTV information.
I do have it. It's on my iPad. It's actually all that's entered already, so we're good.
Kluber won the AL Cy Young tonight. I don't know if you guys caught that as we were
did.
going on the air.
That was such a tight race between him and Chris Sale. There really wasn't a wrong answer. I got it. Holy shit.
You're welcome.
I just remembered.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tomorrow night, I'm pretty sure Jose Altuve is going to win the American League MVP over
Judge.
Aaron Judge, and it's bullshit. Jose Altuve is a nice player, but check all their stats, all the categories, major ones, especially sabermetrics. Judge, it's not even close. He had a better year than Altuve. Unfortunately, the media loves Altuve. There's going to be a nice little media bias, and you're going to watch him walk away with the MVP tomorrow night.
Do you think that the Rookie of the Year was any kind of consolation prize?
I mean, you couldn't even name another one that was deserving of it.
Yeah.
So, was anybody shocked that it wasn't like that? It was unanimous too. I mean, I wasn't shocked at all that it was unanimous.
No, in no way, shape, or form. So a consolation, whatever. And listen, it doesn't matter. Who cares about the personal awards? Like you're there to win, but like it's gonna be bullshit. He's winning because Altuve is going to win because of his career so far versus Judge's, and that's not fair because it's an MVP year. It's not who you've been up to this point. So whatever, a little bit of a tough break for our guy, but he just got all that new Pepsi money. So I'm sure he's laughing.
He's fine.
And he's on the cover of MLB The Show this year too.
Yeah, I saw that.
Who cares?
That's great. That's awesome.
Which means exactly what it means. He's going to get hurt.
No, that doesn't.
Does that carry over like the NFL cover does?
No, it's like the pin magnet or whatever the dopey bullshit you were just talking about there. I don't know.
Thanks for bringing that up, Jeff. Thanks for bringing up the MLB awards because that sparked my memory.
A couple things really fast. Chris Paul's expected to return on Thursday, so I guess that's tomorrow. So by the time any of you are listening to it, it'll either have happened or it'll be that night. Karl Anthony Towns, the cat, he wishes that they would allow medical marijuana in the NBA. He kind of agrees with David Stern, so we'll see if that. Hey, babe, miss you, love you, thinking about you. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff going on, but we're entering into the sweet spot for college football and the beginnings of college basketball. I did see today too. The last thing I'll bring up, that Hal Steinbrenner. Did you see this, Brett? Hal Steinbrenner said that this was a conversation. The moving on from Joe Girardi was a multi-year conversation that he and Cashman had been having. So it was going to happen even if they had won the World Series.
I don't know about that. I do believe that they probably did have the conversation.
That actually sounds very much like a George thing to do.
It does sound very George.
I don't know. I think more George would be just he would wake up one day and be like, "You're gone." Like I think there's way more thought put into anything now.
No, there is, but you know what? Like we remember like 90s George. Like you got to remember there was 70s and 80s George too, who wasn't the most.
Well, 80s George was a different manager every year, right?
Yeah, he wasn't a very rational, person sometimes, and he enjoyed, the media and their attention just like a lot of other people did.
All I know is a George divided against himself cannot stand.
Amen.
Thanks for taking the time to listen, everybody. You can hit us up on social media at Low Outside Sport. Our Snapchat is very underutilized. Share away with everybody, and until next time, we'll catch you next week.
Desperandum, dear lady. Across the desert lies the promised land.
See ya.
Goodbye, Mrs. Gloop. Adieu. Auf Wiedersehen. Gesundheit. Farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return, united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's green.